Welcome back to Power On Weekly for the week of February 22nd through the 28th. My name is Irving Legend. I am your host. Joining me this week is your co-host,
Slobby-ass Aly.
Slobby-ass Aly. Aly Mayhem is returning once again. We missed you last week.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I didn't feel good last week. I don't feel really good today. You can tell by the very clean face and the
natural.
I'm all natural today.
Also wearing the same shirt I wore last episode.
Oh, that's awkward.
I watched it.
I just threw on his sweater. Yeah, I had stomach acid reflux all day.
Nice.
And then all I wanted was a hot pickle.
Mm-hmm.
And how dare these companies say their pickles are hot and then make them sweet? It's very upsetting. I feel very betrayed.
Dang. Famous Daves, we're looking at you.
I'm upset.
Well,
so if I'm in a bad mood, y'all know why, because I didn't get my hot pickle. I got a sweet pickle.
The pregnancy cravings are coming in.
They are. They're here.
They're here.
They're here.
Well, I want to thank everybody for returning and coming back to another week's episode. This week, we're going to talk about EA. There's a lot of things going on at EA. Some shifts, some nails in the coffin, and some interesting choices as to what they're doing with some existing franchises, as well as the Pokemon Direct. And then I have a PSA for people at the end, by the way, because I think we need to start tapering our expectations.
Oh.
So let's just jump into it. This week, besides Anthem dying, EA has also acquired Codemasters. Codemasters are the devs behind Grid, the Dirt series, and an F1 games for $1.2 billion.
That sounds like a lot.
Yeah.
For someone I've never heard of.
Like I said, Codemasters, they're a niche developer. They do obviously a lot of racing games. Dirt 5.
Wait, it's billion?
Billion, yeah.
That's a lot for a company I've never heard of. Holy crap.
Yes, billion. Now, Microsoft spent 7.5 billion on Bethesda.
Yeah.
That is a lot. Maybe I misspoke. It might be million. I don't know. I'll adjust if I did misspeak, but I mean it is a lot of money. But Codemasters, they just launched Dirt 5. Dirt 5 was, critically well received. It came out for this current next gen consoles, and Dirt 5 is actually now on Game Pass, so I'm definitely going to give it a try now. EA is going to try and create they're trying to accelerate their growth in their racing game portfolio, which is kind of ironic because they have Need for Speed. Like, that franchise has been around for a while.
Mm-hmm.
But Criterion Games has recently kind of shifted focus a little bit to be just kind of a secondary studio to help out other studios and stuff. Criterion helped out with Battlefront, and I think Battlefront 2, and I wouldn't be surprised if they helped out Motive with Squadrons. Now they're probably going to have Codemasters, do a bunch of Need for Speed stuff, which is great, and just have like a committed team to racing games, which I think it's fine. But at the same time, does this sound kind of not good because it's EA? Aly, what do you think? Because they seem to destroy anything they touch as far as studios go. I mean, the best example is the way Mass Effect has and BioWare has gone down the shitter recently. Maxis, yeah, you're right. Yeah, as being a Sims fan yourself, you would know well about that. What do you think about this acquisition?
Well, I mean, since I don't know the company, I'm not really I'm not invested.
Yes.
But I feel bad for any company that's acquired by EA. Like, whoever owned EA and sold it to them just made a ton of money. Good on them. But I don't know. I just don't think EA doesn't have a good track record of managing and running these companies. They're fine as the publisher. Like, hey, we're releasing this game, but it's like the minute they take control of the studios, it doesn't seem to go well. Because it goes into the same things with like Activision, like what Activision has done with Blizzard and what Activision did with Bungie. It's just I am a huge, what's it called, of someone like I don't like when these companies buy studios and then manage them. I always think these companies do so much better when they have their freedom with some stipulations, but don't have full management and are not fully under control with the publishers. I think publishers definitely don't know what the hell they're doing. They stick their foot in too much and are like, I don't know. I feel bad. I don't think it's going to go well.
I kind of feel the same way as well, but I also was a little optimistic because I know that this will give them, like, this is a kind of a win for Codemasters because now they have the money to back them up. And because like, if you, like you said yourself, like, I don't know anything about this like developer, like Codemaster. I don't know who they are, but now they have the backing of EA, so then they could potentially make some cool stuff and get themselves out there, and they have the financial money to a certain extent to be able to do cool games. But I mean, you're shaking your head no already, but no, but the big but is it's EA.
Here's the thing, and this is the last movie I want to talk about, but that Justice League movie I think is a good example of what happens when, oh look, I have a big budget, but the studio has so much control that budget doesn't. There's a point where that budget doesn't matter. It's like, oh cool, I have more money, but I've now lost a lot of creative control because they have an idea and they have something they want. And it's the same thing with these. Yes, the money is nice, but at what cost? Because now they lose a lot of their own decision making.
Yeah.
I mean, like, look at what like Zack Snyder has done with that movie. It's literally 2 times as long, and it's taken another $7 million or $1 billion or whatever. And it's just, it's like, I don't know. Yeah, budget's great. But again, my thing is like, at what cost? At the cost of your creativity and your freedom to create the product how you want it and to create the game you want without interference.
For sure. Now, they did mention that they're gonna try to implement a lot of microtransactions, obviously, into these games. It's EA, obviously, but it also sucks because Codemasters has been very vocal about not liking microtransactions. And
see, again,
I'm just saying,
at what cost? So now you sold out to something you don't want for the money. I don't know that I can like necessarily blame these companies. Like, if you need more money and you need budget. But it always goes into like, at what cost?
Yeah.
And
yeah. So we'll have to see what happens with Codemasters. Now, the big news this week from EA was that Anthem Next, or Anthem 2.0, whatever you want to call it, is officially dead.
What?
Yeah. Who would have seen it coming? I think
that game was dead on arrival.
I mean, it was. Yeah. Everybody knows the story of Anthem. The TLDR is basically they had this game was in development for 7 years, 7+ years. Every year they would just create something, some demo and everything. They'd, take it to their investors, take it to the board or whatever. They'd show it. They wouldn't be happy. They scrapped it, rebooted, scrapped it, blah, blah, blah. It wasn't until basically E3 of that year that they knew what kind of game they were making, 6 months before it was supposed to launch. And the game at launch was filled with bugs and just like the content was nothing. Like, you think of Destiny not having content, this game literally did not have any content or the drive to get players back. Needless to say, that game pretty much was memed to death. And they were supposed to have a small team to work on rebooting the game since 2019, I want to say, but as they said in their statement, due to COVID and work from home, issues, this was a huge undertaking for them, and it was unforeseeable things like this that actually really hindered the game from developing more. We all know that they were also supposed to show basically their higher ups a version of the game a couple of weeks ago. And that week it was radio silent, and we knew that was going to determine whether it was going to keep going or not. And they didn't say that in the statement, but I can only assume that they weren't happy and they just didn't justify it to continue to keep developing. I think it's sad. I think it sucks for the developers who were working on this for such a long time, but poor managing from EA and higher ups, like we just talked about, kept meddling in, really stunted this game from being something great. Because if on paper and when you play the game, like how did you mess that up? It's literally like a super cool Iron Man simulator. The flying was so good. I mean, we even played the demo and like I don't know. I thought
I
the
didn't play the
flying.
demo.
No, you didn't?
No.
Oh, I thought you did.
Mm-mm.
Oh man, but playing just like the game feels so good, and I'm just like, how did you mess that up? What did you think about this news, Aly? You weren't surprised at all?
No, not at all. I was surprised that they were even gonna keep trying to work on it and put budget into it because it was such a disaster at launch. But yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised. It just kind of like one of those things where I've been like waiting for the news. It feels like a drawn out version of Crucible.
Wow.
That's what it feels like. It feels like the same story, but it took them a year to do it instead of 2 months.
Yeah, I think that's pretty fair to say. Now, I think it's they also said in their statement that they'll be shifting focus on existing projects from, well, I mean, like the team members who are working on Anthem next, they're being shifted into Dragon Age, the next Dragon Age 4, and the next Mass Effect. I think it's very ironic how full circle this went with Mass Effect Andromeda. They took a chunk of the team from Mass Effect Andromeda to go work on Anthem. In result, Andromeda wasn't the best or polished game and was poorly received. Now to then spend 7 years developing a game that literally went nowhere. Now taking those people and moving it into the next Mass Effect. I think it's just really ironic, and I'm gonna say it, F you for taking them and doing this game and wasting their time and wasting the potential of Mass Effect, because that franchise was your golden egg at the time, and you really messed it up on that part. That's just my opinion.
Well, yeah, the fact that they took, instead of finishing that project and then switching gears, the fact they took people from that, and clearly that game suffered from a lack of polish, which it probably would have been polished if it had those team members on it. Like, when it's just like, I get you have to have multiple things that you're working on at a time, but the minute you take something away, all you're doing is hurting multiple projects. Like, Andromeda did not do well, and it suffered from, like you said, a lack of polish. For them to just be put on a failed game.
Yeah.
Anthem should have been, I know 7 years is already a long time. It should have either been canceled way sooner, or it should have been, the production should have been extended instead of taking people off of one team and putting it on another. I know it because, excuse me, by the time they took them off Andromeda, it seems like it was really far in production. And if they had just let them finish that out, that game may have been done way better, and then extended that production a little bit longer and then moved them onto it. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I get it. It all comes down to money and budget and timing. We don't want to spend this much time on things. But like, at what point are these companies going to learn that by rushing things and half-assing things and doing these moves, instead of having one bad game like Anthem, you're now sacrificing the quality of another, and you now have 2 bad games that aren't going to sell well, and you're losing money on that. Like, it just hands down, at the end of the day, if the quality is there, the people will come and the people will buy, and you'll make more money.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a hard concept to understand. So,
Yeah. For the development team, my heart goes out to you. It sounds like, if on paper, it just sounds like a huge waste of time for them to be able to work on this, and
that'd
like,
be frustrating for the people who were moved onto it and then moved back.
yeah, I know for sure. I know the player base was very diehard about it. The people who did still play it, I know I was actually pretty optimistic, and I almost thought about re-downloading it and starting the game to be at the level to like then progress into the next. But after seeing, I deep down, I always knew that this was gonna happen, so that's kind of why I never did.
Wasn't worth putting time into it when you didn't think it was going to make it.
Yeah, pretty much. So yeah, I mean, that's it for Anthem. Rest in peace. Now the game, the game as it is right now will still be live. You can still play the game. It's not technically dead. It's just Anthem Next is dead.
There's just no more development on it.
Yes.
Development is finished. The game is still there. It's still playable. You can still hop on multiplayer.
Yeah.
There just is no more content for it.
Exactly.
And no more fixes or.
Yeah.
That's what you mean though, right? Like.
Yes. No. Yes. So essentially, Anthem 2 or Anthem 2.0 or Anthem Next is dead, but the game is still playable and you can do it. Now, speaking of games as a service games, apparently the next Dragon Age was supposed to have multiplayer elements into it, similar to games as service games and microtransactions and all that other stuff. And due to obviously Anthem failing and a bunch of shifts and stuff like that, they have reported that the next Dragon Age will not have any multiplayer elements. They're removing it from the game, and they're just focusing solely on single player. This doesn't come as a surprise because, I mean, Jedi Fallen Order did so well that I think it's more of a surprise to me that that was ever on the table, that was ever a thing that was supposed to be developed, when you had a game that was in development for 7 years and then crashed and burned because it was lack of content, and you were going to then try to do it again with a beloved franchise is Dragon Age. Like, we saw it with Fallout 76 when they tried something new and how, flat on its face that fell. I was genuinely surprised to hear this about Dragon Age, but I'm glad that they're shifting more focus on single player games, because, I mean, like, single player games are still amazing. You look at games that like Spider-Man and, God of War and Control and Jedi Fallen Order and like Red Dead, even though Red Dead has, multiple elements, but still, like, those games, they just prove that single player games are, like, they're still a thing. Like, you don't have to go the games as a service or, free to play loot box or whatever it may be. Like, if you do it right, the people will come, basically what you just said earlier. So yeah. Did you have any thoughts on these? Did that surprise you as well?
I don't know much about Dragon Age, so okay. I don't really know if that would have been good, bad. I think just with, again, EA's track history, though, good for Dragon Age for not being ruined by the multiplayer whatever.
Yeah. And lastly, EA is reporting that they're letting their developers decide the future of their franchises, aka what like, it's basically letting Respawn do whatever they want with Titanfall, which I think is great, because even though Jedi Fallen Order was awesome and Apex is doing really, really good, I still think that there is a lot of potential that they could do in Titanfall 3, and maybe give it a couple more years for, like, no Titanfall anything, than to be like, oh, Titanfall's coming back, like, oh, and then you get those people that are clamoring about it. So I guess that is one upside, I think, as long as there's no catch, that, they're able to just do whatever they want with their existing franchises.
Well, and that's pretty much what I was just saying earlier, is this is exactly what they need to do. They need to stop meddling. They need to stop jumping in for the money and have guidelines for them, but let them do what they need to do with those guidelines. Like, I think this is great, because I think, okay, so maybe what I said is what's happening, and they are learning from all the meddling in these past 3 or 4 failed projects. That, like, okay, well, you guys did great when we weren't meddling. Yeah. Maybe EA has kind of, like, realized, like, oh, every decision that we've made is the reason that these haven't done good. Okay, let's see what you guys can do on your own for another project. I think the more freedom, the better for these teams and these developments, and, like, that's what all these companies have built their fanfare on their own ideas and their own mechanics. That's why, like, that's EA. That's why you bought these companies, because they prove themselves, and it's just like, let them continue to prove themselves.
Yeah, oh, for sure. I want to know what you guys think about everything that's been going on at EA. Let me know in the comments below what you think about the Codemasters acquisitions. Were you looking forward to Anthem next, or are you disappointed? Sorry, Eli. And how would you have reacted to hear that Dragon Age had a multiplayer element in the game when it came out? Let me know in the comments below. Pokemon 25th year anniversary. Pokemon had a direct this week. They announced it, like, literally the day before, which I think is smart of Nintendo and every other people who are doing directs nowadays, because you give people time to speculate, people are going to be disappointed. And even a day's notice, people still found ways to be disappointed, because I feel like gamers have their expectations way too high this year. But 25th year anniversary for Pokemon. And they did a direct, which they showed off just a few things. But how they started it, I think, was amazing. I love that video. That video that they showed, where they literally showed from 1996 Pokemon Red and Green, and Japan being released, the game key, the cable. It was so nostalgic. It was so cool seeing the entire, like, I'm getting teary-eyed right now just thinking about it. It's just like, that was such a beautiful way to like start that direct, and it just, for me, it really was powerful for me to just see like a franchise that I love, just watching that and just reminiscing and feeling the impact of it. And just like, this is a really powerful franchise for me. Sorry, I'm getting real emotional. What, Aly? I know you're really trying to say something right now, so go ahead.
Oh no, I wasn't.
No?
No, just yeah, no, like I just am in agreement, and I like cried at the end of it.
Yeah.
It was like, I don't know, it was really like impactful, and it felt really weird to cry about it, but like I was like, oh my god, like you just forget how much they've done in 25 years. And
yeah,
even if I've had my periods where I've jumped off the like Pokemon train, like yeah, like I just the beginning of it was really powerful. Like I was there for that very first game, like
Yeah.
I remember the Pokemon Red and Blue days, and like it was like, yeah, it was such a big part of my life for many, many years. I jumped off for a while there, but I would always jump back in and out.
Yeah.
I don't know, like I feel like as an adult I've like definitely I've like re-entered the like Pokemon love, and it just kind of never completely goes away.
No, for sure. Yeah, and just seeing the video, and like I like how they touched on like virtually everything, right? Not only the games, but the anime, then the trading card games, and the movies, and the everything else, and like even the little things like link cables, and now you got your wireless adapter that came with Fiery Red and Leafy Green. But
I just gotta tell my quick story about the cables, right?
Yeah.
Because when Pokemon, because I played on like the Game Boy and the Game Boy Color, and I remember me and my friends all had the games, and I remember the link, those cords were not cheap.
No, they weren't. My parents never bought it for me because they were expensive.
Well, me and a friend went in on it together.
Mm-hmm.
So like we went in on it together. Our parents both split it because, again, she didn't have a sibling that had one and I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember there was like this big conversation over who was going to keep it.
Yeah.
Like who was going to have the cord. And it finally came down to me. But I remember her being like, well, you're going to lose it, or you're going to blah, blah, blah. And I remember, like, I'm that person that, like, when you say something like that, like, I take it very personally. And, like, I do everything in my power to, like, prove someone wrong. I still have that cord to this day.
We should have had it on the...
I know. I didn't even think of it. Well, I don't know where it is because it's in a box, but I have it.
Yeah.
Like, actually, I think I do know where it's at. But yeah, no, it's just so funny. And like, so like, I literally don't, well, we do have a Game Boy now.
Yes, I do.
But I got rid of my Game Boy. I got rid of a bunch of stuff. But I literally just kept that cord out of spite. So it's just funny. Like, when every time anyone brings up the cord, I see the cord, I'm just like, it's so funny because I'm just like, yep, still got it.
That's right, Jessica. We still have it.
Samantha,
yeah. Yeah, but just like seeing all that was really, really cool. And I love that video very much. So for me, it was already a really good direct. And then it continued on, and we saw another sneak peek at Pokemon Snap coming, new Pokemon Snap coming in April 30th.
Did I cry? I did cry.
You did cry. Yeah.
I was like, I didn't cry. No, I cried.
Yeah, no, we did. Gameplay looked great. They showed off the region. I forgot the name of it, but they also showed off Professor Mirror and some other people, and like, yeah, it looked good. It looked just like a good Pokemon Snap game.
Isn't it like, it's like something really close to like leg.
Oh, I don't know.
It's really close to like the word for like a lentil.
Lentil, yeah.
Yeah, because it reminds me of like lentil beans.
Oh,
every time like they say it, I like think of like the beans or like the soup, lentil soup.
There you go.
So
yeah. They have different times of days, different environments. They also introduced a new mechanic called the Illumina Orb, which will make Pokemon glow, change their poses a little bit and stuff like that for you to be able to get different photos. They also have a photo editing mode, which is awesome. I love photo modes in a lot of games as long as they do them right. And you can also upload your photos online where people can vote on them, and your photos can be featured in the game and stuff, incentivizing you to keep playing. $60 game. Does that surprise you?
No.
It surprised me. I'm being honest.
No. When's the last time a Nintendo game came out that wasn't $60, no matter how big or little the content was?
Yeah.
Like even Link's Awakening
Mm-hmm.
was a $60 game.
Yeah.
And I mean, we played through the whole thing. Did I think that game was worth $60? Absolutely not. That's why I bought it on Mercari. But you know what I mean? It's just like, so like 60. Yeah, I expected it to be $60. They don't do anything for under $60.
Yeah.
And that's kind of just the unfortunate, like, you just got to shrug and be like, okay. Like, I knew it was going to be a $60 game. There was no doubt in my mind about that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like once you say it out loud, I do agree, but it's still kind of a sticker shock for me. Was there anything in this gameplay or little trailer thing that really surprised you, or you wanted more of, or are you just like I'm just happy it's even happening?
I'm just happy it's even happening, and like I didn't really need another trailer. I didn't really need to know more. Like I don't know, because it's like there's not really much more you can do with the franchise than, so I'm not like looking for them to change anything or do anything. I'm just looking for it to look better, function a little bit better. And maybe just have more interesting secrets you can discover.
Yeah.
But I will say though that like just based on the first game, which I loved, like the $60, like I hope it's a longer campaign than the first one was.
Yeah.
That's more my concern than anything is if it's like the same length as the first one, the $60 is a lot. It was really easy to figure out the secrets. And like I played the shit out of that game and I like played it over and over and over again. But I mean, at the end of the day, it was like you could complete it in like if you figure out you could complete it in like 15, 20 hours and like perfect everything.
Yeah.
My concern is more so game length.
Replayability.
I think it's got its replayability, but if it isn't like there isn't like twice as many like areas and stages, I worry. I'll pay the $60 no matter what, because it's all like I said, it's one of the 3 games I wanted remade.
That's true.
But again, though, I just think like I am really nervous it's going to be another very, very short game, and I'm going to feel like I did with Link's Awakening, where I was like, that was great, it was beautiful, it was charming, but it was $60 because it's Nintendo, not because it was actually a game that should be valued at $60. Yeah. That's my concern. But I'll pay it.
I think we're also really we really haven't paid for a lot of games recently and like paid full price for a lot of games, so that's why it's also kind of
no, but at the same time though, like there is, I feel like there's definitely like value tiers, right? Mm-hmm. Like how much replayability and all that is in a game and how much is like, I feel like there's definitely like there's like the $20 games, the $40 games, and the $60 games. Yeah. And it's like sometimes it just feels like there's games that are just $60 just based off of who made them and not the actual value of the game itself. And that sounds probably kind of mean. I don't mean that like to be rude to like to the people who put the time and the energy in it and to developing it. But I do. I've kind of always felt that way though. Like I've had games in the past that I've spent $60 on and been like, was it really a $60 game,
Yeah, no, for sure.
But the issue with Nintendo too, though, is if there's a game that I would see and I'd be like, I don't think that game is going to be worth $60, I'll wait a year or two. Mm-hmm. Most other companies do eventually drop them down, even if it's only like $10. But then you're like, okay, like it's a little less. Nintendo doesn't do that. It doesn't matter what the game is. In fact, they'll take a game that's 15 years old, polish it up just a tiny bit, and then charge you $60 again. Like it's just, I don't know. But then I also like, I can't be mad. I get it. You're like a brand name. It's your image. It's how you guys want to conduct your business. But it's just kind of like there's games I probably won't buy. Or it's like I said, like I went out of my way to find someone selling Link's Awakening for less. And like another one I want to play is the Yoshi's Crafted World, because I loved Woolly World. Yeah. I felt Woolly World was totally worth $60. Sorry, I'm going on a tangent somewhere else. But like, Crafted World seems really samey, so I don't want to spend another $60. But it's not like I can wait for a sale, because that's never going to come.
No.
So
I mean, Breath of the Wild is still $60 on the eShop, so
yeah,
$50 on Amazon. It's insane.
See, so it's a pricing thing for me. That's why I'm just like, I'm going to buy Pokemon Snap day one, because I know it's never going to be on sale, and I want to play it. Is it going to be worth $60? No, but I'm going to buy it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to go on like a pricing tangent.
You're fine. A game I will spend $60 on is the next game, Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. Gen 4 has been remade. It's got a little chibi art style. The battles are more 3D though. They're more reminiscent of like Sword and Shields battles. Not that intense, but like it's more a little more dynamic. They've got some attack animations going on. It looks like the underground feature from the game is also back, where you go down in the underground and start mining for stuff. It's coming to the Nintendo Switch late 2021. This was the worst kept secret for at least a year. Everyone knew that Gen 4 was going to be remade. I think they did Gen 3 remake a couple years ago. And yeah, I mean, obviously Gen 4 is the next in the franchise, but I also think Gen 4 is one of the strongest generations in my opinion. My second favorite generation, for sure.
I missed that whole era.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you bought it, it'd be nice because I could have where you can have multiple saves now.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to have to buy, like, it's just other Nintendo things, you know? Hashtag Nintendo things.
I'll let you play experience it, you know? Yeah.
I know. But it's just the point, though. I was like, oh, if you're going to buy it, great. And it's just like, it's really frustrating when you can't just like have more than one save, because it's like I said, yeah, but I never experienced it. That was around the era when I stopped playing Pokemon and gone to other things, you know, adult things like watching anime. Being a big girl who plays Pokemon. But so I have no feelings towards it, but like, yeah, I mean, it's like the remake, I'll play it, and I've been itching to play like another Pokemon game.
Yeah.
Again, though, pricing.
Yeah.
I was like Sword and Shield, or like $60.
Yeah, I was actually watching Justin play Sword and Shield today, and I had the same itch too. I'm like, oh, I want to play another Pokemon game. I want to play a Pokemon game.
I've been wanting to be honest.
Yeah. And I asked him if that was worth it, and he was like, no. And I looked into it. You only get like 82 new Pokemon or something like that. Like, the game apparently isn't as good as the other ones, and just like
that's what I've heard, and that's why I didn't jump on it when it came out.
Same, yeah.
I waited for some like reviews, and it was kind of just mediocre.
Yeah.
But then I also don't know if I want to spend all the money revisiting. I mean, I know it's a revisit for you and not for me.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It looks interesting.
Gen 4 is great. I think Gen 4 has some of the strongest character or Pokemon designs. And the Sinnoh region is really, really cool. I think that's the first time they introduced also Leafeon and Glaceon, which I find it really interesting. I loved how you evolved them in that game, so I'm a big fan of that. Black and White wasn't really that great, and then X and Y only introduced like a couple of Pokemon.
I liked X and Y though.
Yeah, you did.
I liked it a lot, but I hadn't played anything since Ruby.
Yeah,
so it had been a long time. But I mean, that's how I've always played Pokemon games, is I skip generations. Like I never, because again, it's like as much as I love Pokemon, the experience can get so repetitive.
Yeah. That
I played, like I said, I played Blue and Red. I had each of them. I was a very spoiled kid. I had each of them to make, because my mom made sure I could get all the Pokemon.
Yeah.
My mom was very sweet when I had to explain to her, like, but I only have half. That's why I had the cord. I would take my friend's like thing and I would transfer on my. Okay, anyhow. But so obviously I played the crap out of that. I played that game twice on the two different gens.
Yeah.
And then there was, of course, the story where family member started a new game and didn't know that it would overwrite my game.
I think we all have been there.
Yeah, I was, and it was the first time I got to the Pokemon League. I was there. I was at the Pokemon League, and I was on vacation with family, and I next morning turned on my thing, and it was a brand new game. And I didn't get mad at anybody, but it was it was very. But yeah, so so I played it. So I played it a lot. But then well, then of course I'm like, I have so many bad Pokemon experiences.
Yeah, you do.
And then there's Pokemon Yellow, where I left it on the plane. I think I've told that one on here before.
Yeah, you have, yeah.
But so I played them a lot, right? So then finally I was like, I took a big break. That's why I didn't play like the one that you love so much. I didn't play for a long time. I think I played Ruby on an emulator though, because I got that itch again. And it was like I wanted something new. And then from there on out, I just didn't have like I wasn't really up to date with buying new handheld consoles. At that point, I moved to like console only.
Yeah.
Or primarily like where I barely used like the 3D, like, you know, the Nintendo Game Boys and all that. So I missed a lot. But so like going back into X and Y was when we got a new what's it called, and I was like, I wanted to play Pokemon. It was so good. But like, so then every few years, like now I'm at that point again where I'm getting that itch. So it sucks that Sword and Shield are just kind of mediocre.
I want you to play Gen 4. Like this is really bad. If you're having an itch for it, and I said this on Justin's stream too, because there's somebody on there who he's like, I've never played a Pokemon game. Like I don't like it. What's the whole like hype about it and stuff? I'm like play this one. Like I think Gen 4 is like a good. It's not too many Pokemon because right now there's 893.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a lot.
there's
that was the other thing. It started to just be too many Pokemon, and I was just like, that's why I was like, I'll visit every once in a while.
Yeah, so I think Gen 4 is like a good place to start if you haven't. But I'm excited for this. I'm excited for you to be able to play it. I think you'll really like it, especially if you're having that itch.
Yeah.
Now the next game that they showed is Pokemon Legends Arceus. It's an open world third-person RPG type Pokemon game. Everyone is saying it's basically Breath of the Wild Pokemon. Ironically, also set in the Sinnoh region but it's like in a feudal setting. Like so, back when Pokemon were like free and they were roaming, there wasn't a lot of like, you know, training or battling or anything. It also shows us like a little snippet of like what the first Pokeballs look like.
Mm-hmm.
I think the setting is super cool.
Mm-hmm.
And it obviously makes sense to go and coincide with the Gen 4 remake.
Yeah, because it's the same, right? Same region,
yes.
Different time period.
Yeah, different time period.
It is a cool tie-in.
Yeah, and the Arceus thing is also obvious too. And the name of it makes sense as to why they're doing it back in the day is because Arceus is said to have created the Sinnoh and another region, but it's also like said to have just created the entire universe as we know it, as well as the Lake Guardians, which was Mesprit, Azelf, and Uxie, and also the Creation Trio, which was Palkia, Dialga, and Giratina, which all of those are legendary Pokemons in the Sinnoh region in Gen 4. That's the other thing, too. Oh my god, they had so many legendary Pokemon. You got Arceus.
Oh,
yeah.
What? Those were all from like one game?
Yeah, like though you had all three of those, and then you also had the Moon, the Crescent one. I think they also introduced Darkrai in this one as well. And then there was also 2 forms of Giratina.
Nice.
It was great, man. Gen 4 was awesome. The game looked a little rough though, if I'm being honest. The little trailer that they showed.
Yeah, no, I thought when we were watching it, I was like, that's gonna be a 2022 release for sure because it needs polish bad.
Yeah.
But when I saw that it was like, okay, they have like another year of development, I'm not worried.
Yeah.
But it needs it.
It does.
I am surprised they didn't polish it more for showcase though. I think maybe that goes back into more COVID stuff where they knew they were going to have to announce it today, and it just like working from home has maybe hindered that a little.
Yeah, even like a CGI trailer would have probably sufficed just to like even that like that the like painting art style thing that they showed at the beginning where it was all like, you know, feudal setting and everything. I thought that was great. They could have done something just like that the entire thing and I would have been sold. Like
yeah.
But I think they wanted to show the Breath of the Wild scope of it to kind of
maybe fewer clips too that were a little more polished. Like, shorten the length of it or something. Yeah, but I mean they have a year or two depending on how you look at 2022 because that could even be end of 2022. So they have plenty of time to polish it. I'm not worried, but it did look rough. It was a little like I was surprised that they were showing it off.
Yeah, I agree.
Because Nintendo's so about their image anyways. I was a little shocked that I was like, wow, y'all are really
and apparently
showing this off. Okay.
And apparently I'm surprised too because apparently like tree textures in Pokemon Sword and Shield are terrible. Apparently that's from what I learned from last week's episode, thanks to Dave. But so I was watching this and I was like, okay. I think it's cool. I think it's a cool little tie-in. It's something new. It's something like you know, Pokemon has always been turn-based, you know, RPG, samesies. Yeah, like, you know, you go through the motions, you know what to do, you know what to expect. This is literally an open world Pokemon where there's like no like trainers. There's no like I don't know, gym leaders or something. Like this is just you going out into the world and then exploring Breath of the Wild style. And who knows, maybe you'll run into the 6 legendary Pokemon for the first time or something, or you'll go up against Arceus for some reason.
I just read frames don't look so hot.
They don't look so hot,
but just made me really sad that my pickles aren't hot either.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry. I got really distracted by my I started thinking about my hot pickles again.
Okay.
Continue.
That's and that was it for the Pokemon Direct. Is there any last minute things that you want to say about it?
Not really. I mean, because again, I don't know. Like, I know people complained about like the style of Pokemon Pearl and Diamond.
Yeah,
and
like the chibi style and everything.
people didn't seem all that excited about Arceus, and I'm like, no, they look good. They look fine. They look fun. Obviously, I'm already sold on Pokemon Snap, so the direct, it didn't do much for me, but I don't know. Like, I think it was good for what it was. Again, it was a nice. I don't know what I'm trying to say. All I'm thinking about are my hot pickles.
You're fine. I do want to say one last thing. We've been saying this for a while. Yeah, we've been saying this for a while as far as like, games being going to be affected due to the current state of the world, the pandemic, and, just work at home, like work from home orders and everything. And like, I think us gamers are very entitled to like.
That's what he was trying to think of last week.
I did add it in the thing.
I know you did, but like just for anyone who may have just been listening.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. It was entitled is the word he was trying to think of, and we are very entitled.
Yeah. That like even like news outlets and stuff like that. They're like, because like the PlayStation showcase was shown and it was really short. Not a lot of things were shown. We saw a few things from like Kenya, like the bridges with that nice game.
Oh yeah, that one looks nice.
There's some other stuff that they were showing, but everyone was like, "Where was God of War? Where are all these other games?" And even with the Pokemon thing, why didn't we get X or whatever? And like last week with the Direct, where the heck is Breath of the Wild 2? I'm just like, we need to taper our expectations as far as games are going to be slowing down in the next couple of years, whether we wanted it or not. We've stepped into a war with sorry, that's a Destiny meme.
Oh.
Whether we wanted it or not, this is going to affect like game developers and stuff. And I think that like, especially when I said at the beginning of this segment where like they're announcing their directs or whatever like a day or two before, it's just so people can stop getting their hopes of speculating and doing all these like crazy things, so then they're not disappointed. Like, I think we all just need to chill out. Like
the issue is these companies are damned if they do, damned if they don't.
No.
Because if they don't release a game as soon as possible, people bitch and complain. Like, I think Cyberpunk is the best example of our entitled attitudes. And like they felt like, well, we have to release this. We can't keep working on it even though we know it needs more work. Like same thing with these showcases. It's like if it's not in a state to show you, they're not showing you for a reason. Because look, we're complaining about the Arceus not being polished. Yeah. Like but we're not like expecting a lot. But it's that same thing of like, okay, well we're like, oh well that wasn't polished. But then would we have been mad if they didn't show more? It's like you said, people need to taper down and calm down on expectations and realize that they're showing what they're showing for reasons, and they're not showing what they're not showing for reasons.
Exactly. I think that's the perfect way to say it for sure. But I want to know what you guys thought about the Pokemon Direct. Let me know in the comments below. How do you feel about the 20 years of Pokemon? 25 years, I'm sorry.
God, rude.
Of Pokemon. What are your top if you were to pick your Pokemon team of 6, who would they be? Let me know in the comments below. Aly, do you know them on top of your head?
No, we can start with that next week.
Okay.
We can start with that. And maybe if anyone says anything, we can read off some other ones.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Let me know in the comments below what you guys thought about the Direct. And I hope you guys enjoyed this week's episode. We will see you guys next week. Take care, everybody. Stay safe. Bye-bye.
Bye.